Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that I figured a lot of people could relate to or could have had a friend relate to this more or less. So I'm just gonna get right into it. So today I'm gonna be talking to you about my experience with oh my gosh, I did not do inpatient. I did outpatient therapy. And when I did outpatient therapy, it was something that I was terrified to do. It's something that you don't exactly plan to be going. It's kind of something that your doctor forces you or tells you that if you don't go, you're gonna go to the psych ward. So with that said, I'm gonna talk about my experience with it. And I'll be honest, there's some good and bad to this, but this is just my experience. This isn't like how it is for everyone. So like I can't speak on everyone but myself and my own experience. So just keep that in mind. So I'm gonna start off with telling you that first of all, IOP, intensive outpatient therapy, is a therapy group that meets multiple times a week for like 3 or 4 hours. And it's basically like a support group, but you also have a psychiatrist, you have a therapist there, and then you have group. And group is where you kind of learn, you get these worksheets and you learn kind of about how, how to manage your stress, how to manage your anxiety, your depression, self-harm, whatever it is. And it's like a good way to kind of just like have the paper there to just like be reading it, be talking about it. Yeah. The thing is I wasn't too open at first with it. It is kind of intimidating because to get to the point of going to outpatient therapy, you're pretty much in almost rock bottom, but you're not hurting yourself. Well, I mean, I forget if I was or not at this point. I don't know, but I will say that at this point, I was just like very helpless and I was just like, nothing's working. What am I going to do? And so I did the outpatient therapy because they said, should do it and I was supposed to do it. And it was just recommended by like my doctor and like my family, thought I should do it too. And the thing about outpatient therapy though, is like, they can't force you to go, but it helps. It really does. I mean, I personally should have taken it more like serious than I did, but I still got something out of it. And it's still something that I would say was a very valuable experience. Every week I would go I would go 3 times a week and I would go for hours. I would go after my college classes because I didn't want to miss like school. I didn't want to be taking a leave or anything like that. But there's nothing wrong with it if you like decide to do that. It was just for me. I just wanted to continue going through school even though I hated my life and I wanted to die every day. But we're not like that anymore. No, but what I was saying, continuing on with this like story and kind of just like this experience, I really felt alone and broken. And when I went into this group, it was very much, I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to be with like crazy people? Like, am I going to be with very like messed up people? And they were just like me. That's the thing, is like normal people have problems. Everyone has problems. Everyone does. But it's about how you manage it. It's about how you take care of yourself. And it's really just about not letting like little things build up to the point where you're at a breaking point, which is kind of why I was there in the first place. So with that said, I had to do a lot of work with it. You had to do exercises. They wanted you to do stuff outside of it. I had to do that a little bit. I didn't do it as much as I probably should have, but I will say that if you have to be in outpatient therapy, you might as well just give it a chance. That's kind of what I did with like the medication, because at first they put me on this one medication and then, I was on it for a little while. And then after I left IOP, I think a couple weeks later, I switched my medication. I can't remember exactly, but they put me on a medication. They gave me a personal therapist. So you would talk to them. They would take you out of group. And then you would come back and everyone would be in like the group, and it was almost like a class in a way. You know, they would hand out these worksheets, they would be saying, you know, do this, draw this, do this exercise, do that. And it was definitely like, obviously the whole thing was intimidating to begin with, but I think the biggest thing that I would say about outpatient therapy that I really, really did appreciate was the fact that the people that worked there, the people that were leading the, leading the group, were very much there because they cared. They wanted to help people. It wasn't like oh, this is my job. I felt very much cared about from them. And I think that that's something that's really important too, is having those people around you feel like they're actually caring and connecting with you. And I did, luckily, which was really nice. But I will say this, outpatient therapy did not solve everything. I still struggled a lot, but the thing that outpatient therapy did give me that I really, you know, I encourage anyone to take it seriously at this point, but it's like mindfulness, like meditation. It's, you know, it's like taking time to just like walk by yourself. It's DBT, dialectical behavior therapy. And it's really just a cool thing to do to really calm yourself down, and a good way to like cope and everything. So I definitely found that to be helpful later on, even though it wasn't just immediate after. But it still did help a little bit, and it did give me a little bit more, I guess not worth, but it gave me a little bit more of a sense of I wasn't alone. I had worth just like these kids had worth. Like, I think when I went into it, I felt like I just wasn't worthy. I didn't matter. I didn't belong. And because at this point, I want to say, scratching my nose. Oh yeah, that's something I used to hate too and be so depressed about, because people used to make fun of it. What was I saying? Yes. So with outpatient therapy, I will say the biggest thing that I got out of it definitely was the dialectical behavior therapy. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically just mindfulness. It's not meditation. Meditation's another thing, but it's mindfulness. And so mindfulness is like if you go outside and you see a beautiful flower, you look at the flower, you examine the flower, you appreciate the flower. And it's just like a good way to like get your brain to like rewire and start to think about new things, to help you and to help you better your life and your coping mechanisms. Another thing I will say, which is not to trigger anyone, but they did also give a, you know, stop packet. And that was also a way to harm yourself without harming yourself. So for example, instead of like cutting or, you know, anything like that, I don't even need to go farther into it because you know what I'm talking about, but instead of that, it was like get a rubber band for your wrist, get water, splash water in your face, take ice cubes and melt them on your wrists. There were all these things that you were supposed to do to help you still do what you were doing, but also not, if that makes sense. I guess basically the best way to describe it is that they gave you those stop methods because obviously when you're in the process of being at IOP, you're obviously there because you've harmed yourself or you have came from an inpatient unit and they lead you to outpatient after that. So for me, I think that outpatient therapy was actually more positive than negative. I mean, I will say that, you know, it was definitely hard to kind of open myself up to a group I've never met before, and kids that I had no idea that they were struggling with the same things I was. And, you know, it kind of did help me feel like I was less alone. But with giving that packet in order to hurt yourself but not hurt yourself, it's kind of like this. You don't just change from depression to being fine overnight. It takes time. It's like a process. It's almost like it's not black and white, you know, it's really like instead of hurting yourself with that, why don't you take an ice cube? And if you start doing the ice cube, then maybe we can stop from the ice cube and we can go on a walk and we can handle this and we can cope in another way. So it's kind of like you piggyback onto another thing to help you get out of it, because being in that state of mind is something I, have been in. So I know what the feeling is, and I know the messed up part of thinking, oh, I deserve this pain. But the more that you do DBT or you practice mindfulness, the more you get out of appreciating life and yourself and seeing the worth in life. And I think part of the thing with the flower exercise was really to kind of say that, hey, life is beautiful. There's a lot of great things around. Let's not give up. And I think that was great, because I think it taught me kind of how to like rewire my brain a little bit, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of how outpatient therapy was for me. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't like it was horrible. I kept in touch with some of the kids afterward, but then not so much now. But I do hope like he's doing well. He was a sweetheart. But yeah, that's my experience. So I'm not saying that it's one way or the other, but that's kind of what I dealt with and how I saw it. And, I will say this though, that just because I went to outpatient therapy did not fix me. It took a long time afterward to get to the point where I was not harming. And that breaks my heart to even say today, but that's the truth. And so having that stop method, I actually never used the stop method, I'm not going to lie. But I had it, and it was just nice to have, because I knew I had an alternative. Because whenever I started to really get out of that mindset and realize my worth, and realize I was worth living, my life was worth living, and realize I was worth it, that's kind of when, your coping is just all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to die. I am worth it. And when you have that epiphany, when you have that moment, you realize why you went through what you went through with the IOP, because it helped you fill your thoughts and mind a little bit better. Because part of what is it? I can't even think of it. And I was literally just talking about it. Oh my gosh, occupational. Yeah. So, occupational, outpatient. Oh, outpatient therapy. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on with my head. Outpatient therapy. Yes. I think that for me, definitely, was a very good thing to have. Having a place where they kind of force you to talk about your feelings is actually kind of a good thing, because it forces you to dig deep inside you and say, how are you really feeling, and not kind of push it under the rug, because I know we tend to do that a lot. I mean, girls and guys, especially guys, because of the stigma. But there were girls and guys in this program, and so it just goes to show everyone has issues, everyone has problems. These were normal kids, just like I was. And I wouldn't call myself normal, but I would call myself, you know what I mean. So I think that it can be beneficial if it's what you need. It was what my doctor, kind of told me I needed to do. And I didn't really want to go to inpatient therapy, because I was just like, I was terrified, because I've just like heard terrible things about that, and it like made me scared. And I was like, I don't want to have to do that either. And that's kind of when my doctor was kind of like, well, if you don't want to go to inpatient therapy, then you're going to do this program. And then I was like, guess I have to. So if you are being forced by like a friend or family to take help seriously, like inpatient therapy or outpatient therapy, honestly, take it as it is and you get something out of it, because it is so worth it in the end. Because you will look back years later and say, I got through that. I did that. I'm so much stronger now, and I know that I can get through anything now. And so I really hope that you don't even have to go to outpatient therapy after watching this video. I hope you know that your worth is not defined by other people. It is not defined by likes, followers, who likes you, who doesn't. It's about what you are. Who are you? You need to be unapologetically yourself. That's kind of where it all comes down to. And a lot of mental health issues do come because you aren't being yourself, and definitely happened for me. That was just my experience in my, my journey with it, but I just wanted to say that. So I hope this video helps someone in some way, because I really hope that you see your worth, you see your value, and you know that you never, ever, ever should give up, because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And that was my thing, light at the end of the tunnel, because there always is. You just have to see it, and you just have to believe it and know that your situation might suck now, but guess what? Maybe in a year from now, you'll be married to someone you never thought you would be. You have no idea like what's gonna happen tomorrow. So keep on staying here. Hold on and stay, as my song says, and check out my song Hold On and Stay, which is on Spotify, and it's also on Apple Music. So I encourage you to check that out too if you're still feeling a little bit like very, depressed. I understand a video is not going to fix it, but I hope that my video helped you see that like you will get past where you are and your life will get better regardless of what you see right now. As someone who literally felt the way that you feel, I know what it feels like, but I can honestly say that there's a rainbow with a pot of gold at the end. Like, there really is. And I've never been happier. And I'm really happy that I got to share this with you guys. So like or comment, subscribe if you want. Tell your friends about my channel. Like I said, this channel is just meant to be a safe space, a place of healing, and a place where people can really be themselves. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night, wherever it is you are, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.